Okay. In a minute and a half, I have done all the things that I think I need to do to get started. So, what is happening here? Hold please. My phone stand was being very weird, but I'm not using that. Okay. Yee! So excited. Let's see here. Okay. Hey everybody, Melissa here with DIY Melissa IRL. I am so excited tonight to go over the Paper Florist dies and create this 3D home decor project. Give you some ideas of some other fun things that you can do, and show you what I did to organize myself in order to make a lot of paper flowers. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this set this week, and stay tuned because the rest of the week we'll have some other projects using this, but today I just wanted to show off the 3D projects. So hold on please, because of course I'm streaming issues. Somebody's playing video games and it's not me. So there you have it. There's that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just get right to it. And if you have any comments, I will address those at the end, and I will also go ahead and update the description of the video after we're all finished. And by the way, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Austin, Texas. So this is what we're talking about today, the Paper Florist dies. All right, let's go. Here we go. Whoop. All right. Yee. Okay, here's what I made. It's a super cute little decor frame, and it's got beads on the top. Now, you're going to laugh when you see what we made this out of, but this is a Dollar Tree item. Okay, so let's come in a little closer so that maybe you can see the flowers. Ooh, I'm trying to find the lighting to make it the best. It's really difficult sometimes. I have 15,000 lights on, if you know me. But anyway, we used a combination of the let me tell you the answer. We used a combination of the daisy dies. I'll have to tell you the name of it when we get there. And then all these other flowers on here are from the Paper Florist dies. So let's set that down to the side for a quick minute. And this is the annual catalog, which started this month, May 2023. It is good through April of 2024. And if you've never noticed before, in the back of the catalog, starting on page 161, I'm actually going to stand this up out of the way so I can get the whole thing in the camera view, is a section called Detailed Die Cuts. Yeah, I've got 15 piles of things to go over with you. Sorry about that. Okay, so right here, Detailed Die Cuts on page 161. And as you go through there, these are the dies that are found throughout the catalog. Now, some of them are standalone dies, meaning that they don't go with another set. So one clue that you might want to look for when you're looking at the catalog is a little tiny box right here. You can see it from actually way on the camera. It is a pink N, as in new. That stands for new. So as you're scrolling through the back and you're looking, many of these complement a stamp set that is no longer a bundle, but the N signifies new dies. And so Brilliant Backgrounds, for example, on page 162, it actually tells you this is new. There's 2 dies in the set. And it actually says, see these dies on use on page 92. Then you go to page 92 and you see another little reference. So when we get over here to page 165, this is where you'll see the Paper Florist dies. Now, very exciting, these dies, every single one of these dies in this set can be used with the mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. Goodness gracious, I feel like we just need to zoom in a little more, just a little bit. Okay, don't go too much, don't get crazy. Sometimes the computer, you know. So anyway, this is the Paper Florist dies, item 161284. They're $37 for the set. There's 18 dies, and it tells you that the largest die is 2 5/8 by 2 11/16. And then it tells us to go to page 33, where we would see these dies in use in the catalog. Okay, so let's skip on back to page 33. All right, here we go. Not there, not there, right here. Okay, so right here at the top, oh good, you can see it quite well. Here is a card 3 different ways, simple or stepped up, where they use the Paper Florist dies. And it actually says right here, page 165, you'll find the Paper Florist dies where we just were. And so there's a simple card, stamps, ink, and paper, and then here they are. These are flat flowers from the die set. And then here is a more, this is a box. It's a 3D project. Okay, so just shows you different ways that you can use it. And then, of course, throughout the catalog, there are little samples of small little snippets of those, and a piece of them right there. All right, and just for even a bigger sample, right here on the back of the Stampin' Up! Catalog, sorry, I'm trying to push everything out of the way, is a beautiful 3D example of the flower dies, Paper Florist dies, and the, I'm going to tell you the real answer for them, the Cheerful Daisy dies. So you can see they've intermixed these two in here using a multitude of the colors from the Color Refresh, it looks like. We've got some Berry Burst and some Lemon Lolly, some Lost Lagoon. That looks like Pretty Peacock. And here are the Cheerful Daisy dies mixed in here in all their 3D glory. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to using those dies so far, and I just do a little single layer. But that is a great representation and example of some ways to put the dies together. Okay, so there it is. So there's a few places for you to look for stuff. If you're wondering, I did take my catalog down to the print shop, and I had it spiral bound. It doesn't come that way. And speaking of which, if you're in need of a catalog, you can reach out and drop me an email and just let me know, hey, I don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I would love for you to be mine. And you can send me that email, and we'll coordinate and get together on getting you a catalog. So, all right. So I'm going to set that to the side now. And let's get to the meat of it. And the meat of it is, it's a lot. Okay? Don't let me fool you. There's a lot going on. Okay? So here's what I did. Here, let me show you the dies before we get going. There are so many dies, they don't all fit on here. And this does include this little die. Sorry while I reach. This die right here, which was the leaf die that I did use on here. I cut out a lot. I kind of just cut my paper, you know, and I'd combine them in ways with some of the Post-it note labeling and cover-up tape, which is highly recommended. I do keep my dies on a magnet sheet, and this one required more than a full sheet, so I have another little sliver. But sometimes you just want your dies to stay exactly where you put them. This is a great die set for a lot of reasons. One of them I'm going to tell you is because you get to use up a lot of your scraps. So if you're one of those people who saves all your scraps, this is a perfect set. And there's a lot of options here. So real quick, flowers, 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 flowers. Okay, this is also flowers. These are the tulips. Stems, greenery, greenery, greenery. all of these little dies over here, except for these 2 leaves, are centers to flowers. So, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Hold please. Oh, there we go. One more light, because we can turn them all on. And then this is also a center, okay? So, as I mentioned, there's a lot of options, okay? So, what I did to make it easy is I made a sampler, okay? Just trying to get it centered properly. So, yeah. Let me take my little logo off here so you can see better. There we go. All right, so there is a lot going on here. So I decided 18 dies makes a lot of things. Let's talk about what things look like and maybe how they go together a little bit. So I did this just to make it easy to understand what the pieces and parts are used for, okay? And I have a ginormous container full of paper samplers, sample flowers here. So let's talk about it. I wish I had a pointer. So I'm just going to use my take your pick tool. I did number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So to me, there are 5 main sets of petals that you will cut out of this die set. And depending upon what shape you want your flower to be would depend upon the combination that you would cut. You can interchange these. I'm going to say there's a bazillion options because I know there's way more than what I have here. But this is just, you know, to get you started. So all the floral pieces are in white, okay? And then the greenery is in green. I did those in soft seafoam. So this is, could be used a couple different ways, but it coordinates definitely with these little tulip flower heads. And then there's 3 leaves or greenery foliage. And then there's this piece here, which is, what do I want to say? It's like a fringe die. It cuts the fringy ends. You can use this for 2 different things. You can use this for grass. That's why I colored it green. And you can also use it for the center of the flowers, which is why I colored it yellow. So all the yellow parts are pieces that could be centers of flowers. And there's a lot of them, This one little die, let me show you this die. It's so cute. I like these little centers. There are 4 dies that are about this size. Hold on while I hold it up. Oh, look how small that is. And right there you can see behind my finger the 4 little dots that it cuts out. Okay, this is a very tiny die, so be very careful with your dies. What I was doing was I would take a piece of that cover-up tape and I would just put all 3 of these together in a nice little row with strips of lemon lolly like this, and I would just lay it down, cut them out, cut them out, cut them out. So I did spend the first night probably about an hour at my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine just cranking it through. And I did mostly white. Then I did some centers in yellow. I did a few petals also in yellow, but I did centers in yellow and a few assorted flowers, right? Petals. Oh, good. I'm glad to see that those are in there. And then I did a lot of green and I did a lot of white. Okay. Oh, I did some bubble bath also. So I want to zoom out a little tiny bit. Okay, that's enough. Not too much. So I have a flower here and I'm just going to go over the petals that I used to make that one so you can get a good idea of the layering. And we can put a few together also. It just happens to have that leaf stuck in there. The greenery, just because. This particular flower right here in pink is these petals right here for number 3. So it actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I thought. 6 of these. So 2 times through the machine, you'll get the leaves, flower petals. I should stop saying leaves. You'll get the flower petals. And then you'll also notice that it has one of these, this size right here of number 5. Now number 5 has 2 sizes. It's got a larger shorter petal cluster, and then it has a smaller size of the same shape. So you get 4 of those, and I used this one right here, right? And then I cut out this center type shape, and it's actually also in Bubble Bath, so same color all the way through. And then I took the fringe die in yellow and I rolled it up, and that became the center. So I'll hold it up a little closer so you can see better. Now you'll see that the flowers are not flat, okay? They are, I took the time to curl the edges up. And the interesting note about this flower petal right here for number 3, when it comes out, it has this slit built into it. And one use for them is to kind of, you can tuck them together like that, okay? So that was one way that you can use that particular petal. All right, let's set that one off to the side. The next one, oh, here is one of those petals, and you'll see, I'll show you how to do the curling of the petals. This one I've already broken down the fibers quite a bit, but you just take your bone folder, and depending upon if you want them to curl up or down, you just go around with your thumb and you can get a good crease on them. You can also do them the opposite way and make them curl under. Just depends on what you need the flower petal to do. Okay, so this is also that petal from number 3 that has the slit in it. Now I've been abusing that particular petal for a little while. I wanted to show you the one where I have a few flowers in here. Okay, this one. Same petals from number 3. Okay, same 1, 2, 3. I use 6 again. All right. The bottom 3 I interlaced with each other and did a little glue on those. And then the top 3, you'll see they're very raised. All right. Let me show you. They have quite a bit of an angle on there because what I did was I took the split ends right there and you fold them over each other. Let me try to show you without my fingers getting in the way. You fold them over each other. Okay, use a little bit of glue. I'm not going to use the glue. Hold on. Oh, you know what I'm going to use? I'm going to use my tweezers so I can get my fingers out of the way. Okay, here we go. Ready? Tweezers. These are self-closing, so they're fantastic. So all you do is cross the tabs of the petal over on themselves. Put a little dab of glue in there. I recommend glue because it's definitely not going to go anywhere. And then you'll get a nice cup shape to the flower petal. Okay? And so when you go to put that together, then you can curl this back if you want to and do a little S shape. Okay? Or you can curl it out the opposite way and have it kind of curl in towards itself. So in this example, I had them curl in towards themselves, and then I took this center right here, the big starburst one. This is the biggest starbursty version. And then I took the fringe die in yellow and rolled it up amongst itself. And when I was adhering those, I put a pretty good amount of glue on the inside and then just plopped it in there and held it. Once it's dry, you can smush it down and fan it out a little bit. All right, so that's another example of number 3. Here's a combination of number 5 and number 2. So this one also uses the smallest of the 2 petals for number 5, and then it uses the smaller petal, which is like a crisscross. It looks like a bunch of plus signs for number 2. And so I used one of the larger one from 5 and then 2 from smaller ones from number 2. Put a little embellishment in the center, and there you have it. These are very simple, very fast. Okay, here's the same set of petals. Smaller one is on the back. This time I curled it downward. And then I actually threw it on the ground first. I used the larger. Oh, I think I did. I'm sorry. Correct me. This is the larger one, and then the larger one here, and then the small ones. See the difference? This is also the larger one from number 2. Embellishment in the center. The tulips are super easy to put together. I would love to find a piece of paper to cover up stuff when we're not. Nope, that's not a good example. That was a horrible example. Hold on. Okay. Move over. There we go. There we go. Okay, so for this is number 4, greenery for the stem, and then any color tulip petals that you want to cut out, you can do those. And this particular example, I did them in bubble bath. And all you do is adhere the tops to the back side. Okay, that's one way that you can do this particular flower. Another way you can do it is you can actually use the stem and then put a small flower head at the top of each of those leaves. Okay, I wasn't finished with this one, but it seemed to just stick to the back of it, so I just left it. But that's a cute little daffodil. Hey, how did I make that? Let's talk about it. This one is the 5-petal skinny one over here, okay, for number 1. And I would say I used the smaller 5-petal flower, and then I used this stitched circle as a center, and then I used the fringe die to roll up and make the grass. It's not a grass, it's the center of the flower. Words are hard, but anyway. I also meant to check and see. I'm not watching comments, so if you guys are gonna make comments, if you hop on, let me know what you think. What's your favorite flower? Oh, Kat's on. She says, "Ooh, looks beautiful." Thanks very much. I will probably not pay much attention to comments now going forward. All right. Let's see. Gosh, there's just, I mean, let me move that out of the way. Here is a very simple flower. This right here was just number 1, the small flower, with a one of these little tiny center in yellow, and then 3 embellishments. I use the black matte dots, on those. Look how tiny and precious that is. It's so cute, right? So, as you can see, there are a lot of options of flowers. I just sat here and die cut away, and then I started sticking them together in different combinations. I really love the ones that use the little fringe as the center. Those are definitely one of my favorites. So much so, here's another cute one right behind it. So cute, right? But that looks a little like a daffodil. Here we go. This one I just put a bunch of centers together. So it's got the large starburst, and then a couple of the smaller X-bursts. I'm going to call it X-burst because it looks like an X still. All right. Let's see. Here's another little daffodil centered flower. these two are the number 5s, okay, with assorted size petals of number 5 right here. Let me move these over here so we can do this. So number 5s. And the center on those is just one of these little circles, centers with the little dotty holes. Let me come a little closer so you can see these guys are interesting because these two cut out together. So you've got a plain small circle with a stitched edge, and then you have a dotty circle that's larger. And then on the other one, you have a small dotty circle and then a larger stitched circle. So interesting. So that's what I used to make these two. And let's see, what else? Here's one where I just put together a bunch of centers. This one, okay, and this one I ran the petals going the opposite way, so underneath. That kind of reminds me of well, it reminds me of quite a few flowers. Marigold, to name one. Not the center necessarily, but yeah. Okay, that, look at this tiny little daisy. Just a bunch of small number 2s put together. There's like 3 of those with a little center embellishment, and here is another one where I used both small and large number 2s. Okay, all right, and then I have a bazillion tulips. Okay, last but not least, I started making a sunflower the other day, and so what I came up with was I used number 1s. I believe I used this one twice, and then one of the smaller number 1s. And then I used this stitched circle, and I cut that one out in pecan pie. And then I put a small dimensional, mini dimensional up on there, and then I used the same little what did I call it? A dotty circle, and then I put a couple of matte dots on there. So then I was like, I think we can make that fuller. So my thought was going to be to take 2 of these larger number 2s and a small, did I need a small one? Maybe I did, I don't remember. To fill up the space, I was going to add some of these petals right here behind it, and I think it really makes a difference. You're not going to be able to tell because it's not all going to be together, but I'm just going to lay it in my hand. And it just kind of adds some more to the flower. It makes it a little fuller. Without, with. There's this interesting little gap on these 5-petal flowers right here that just kind of leave room for something else if you want to really fill it up. So anyway, that is what I have for the sunflower. So again, a bazillion options, right? I mean, I've barely scratched the surface of the different floral types that we can design with this set. So let me put all these away real quick, and then we'll get to talking about the 3D project. What am I going to do with these? You're probably wondering. Well, I'm going to put some magnets on some of them and use them as decoration on some magnetic frames that I already have at home. That's one way. And then I'm going to make some more 3D projects with them. Okay, almost done. Get in there. You can all do it. There we go. All right. Let's set those to the side. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about There are a couple flowers on here that I didn't have as an example of, and in the little bucket. I mean, let's move you over to the side here a little bit. There's notifications. Okay, and let's talk about how I made this right here. I'm going to call an orchid. It looks like a phalaenopsis to me. So it actually has 5 petals of number 3. Okay, it's got 5 of the number 3 petals. 3 are in white and 2 are in bubble bath. And then it has this starburst center right there. And then it has this small number 1 petal, the 5 petal. My bow's in the way. It has 5, I'm going to call this the 5 petal flower, okay? Because none of the other ones have 5 petals, so that makes it easy. All right, and so we're going to layer that together in a variety of ways. And then, as I mentioned, we use the Cheerful Daisy dies right here. And then here are 2 more of those 5 petal flowers from number 1 layered together. So super quick and simple. All right. That being said, let's get started. Okay. I'm almost nervous now. Just kidding. It's fine. All right. I'm going to set that off to the side so I can look at it. Don't fall down. Be brave. Okay. So here is what we started with, what I started with. This, I mentioned, is from the Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree, which is now $1.25. Did you know that you can buy items off of DollarTree.com and they do free shipping? It's crazy. So last fall, I went into the store. I wanted these for a project, and I bought an entire case of 36 of them. So there they were sitting in my room, and I'm like, what can I make? What can I do? Oh, I want to make something fun. So this was a great example. Now, this is a magnet sheet. I'm going to grab one and show you what where I get these from. You have to be creative when you're a crafter, as we all are. These are the magnetic vent covers that I get from Home Depot. So they come in a 3-pack. They're 8 inches by 15 inches long. And for this project, I would be able to get 9 out of these if I was making multiples of this project. So this, I just trimmed them down, and I strongly suggest that if you have a project like this, you take the time to measure the inside of your frame, okay, because they might not be all the same size. This one happened to be 4 5/8 by just a little larger than 4 5/8. So I'm going to give you a little tip on what to do to cover that space. And we're actually going to trim that up right now because I didn't do it before we went live. But take a piece of black cardstock, okay, and just cut yourself about 1 inch. And I only needed 2 pieces on the last one. You will probably have to see how yours fits and what it looks like inside. And what I mean by that is when I slide this in there, you can see that gappy white space right there. And I'm a little bit particular, so I didn't like that. And the other side was pretty good as far as top to bottom. So then I turned it in and rotated it. And again, I still see a little bit of white there and there. Okay, so we're going to go back to the way I had it the first time. I think that'll be how I live with it. And what I'm going to do is take this piece of cardstock and I'm going to trim it slightly. And then I'm going to tuck it into the edges. Okay. So now you'll notice that when we put this in there, there's no more gappy white space. I think I turned it the wrong way. But if you want to change this out, do different holidays or, you know, make a different project out of it. I'm not making it, the magnet is not a permanent part. So, okay. So there it is. That looks pretty good. Notice those pieces don't fall out because I tucked them in underneath the actual frame. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of glue. Okay. And then we're going to put this in there just like that. Now, I used my inked and tile punches to hold that down while I was busy doing other things. So we're just going to go ahead and set that to the side. And let's get started putting some flowers together. I was trying to make this as fast of a video as possible. So hopefully, how long have I already been talking? 38 minutes I've been talking about flowers. It's crazy how long I could talk about flowers. All right, one other tool that you're going to need is your silicone craft sheet. Okay, let's get to building an orchid. So two bubble baths. I just said pink, that's funny. 2 pink ones. We're going to need 3 white ones, basic white, and then 1 of the 5 points and 1 of the starburst. This is what you're going to need to put this flower together. So again, find the good side of your petal. You know what I mean when you go through the die cutting machine. I didn't make this one too terribly curved. Just take your thumb and come across the flower and give it a little bit of a curve. Okay, so there's a slight angle on those. I'm trying to, there's a little dip at the top. And we're going to do the bubble bath petals also, same way, not a lot, just a little. And while we're doing that, oh, this was supposed to be in pink. Hold please. I do have a pink one in here. Let's make sure I get the right size. Yes, the larger one. Now, be very careful with these thinner petaled 5-petal flowers. I really hold it over the center, like I barely am showing half of the petal so that it doesn't tear, because you could very easily just rip the petal off and that would be very bad. So I just rotate it. Again, I'm holding it super tight in the middle. And just, this is like curling ribbon at Christmas time, okay? Just do all the petals like that. That's it. Super easy. Now, I didn't smush this into a little cup, so let's get to gluing. All right. In this example, I would put my 3 white petals together to make this trio. I didn't put them super close together, okay? Most of that center is going to get covered up where the slits are by the yellow center. So a little dab will go a long way. You know, someone said to me, dot, dot, not a lot. And I kind of like that. So let's go here like that. If you're oozing glue everywhere, you're putting too much on there. That's all I have to say. Okay, looks like the beginning of a plus sign, but we're only going to do 3. Just holding it for a second, giving that a little second to get together. You can also put it down on your silicone craft sheet. That's okay too. Adding those bubble bath. Oops, this way. Top side up. I think that's a good start for a Phalaenopsis orchid. If I'm saying it wrong, correct me. You know, enunciation is hard. Okay, then we take this little starburst. I said little starburst, it's really the biggest one, and we're just going to plop that down in the center like that. And then we're going to find that weird gappy space where there is a single petal. This kind of reminds me of a starfish. Yes, like that. So there's kind of a weird gap right here between these two, and then 3 petals are facing down, and that would be the way that I want the orientation to be. And then we're just going to stick that on the center of this, like that. My finger is stuck to it because I may or may not have used too much glue. Okay, the embellishments that I used on these are the adhesive back solid gems that come in the pecan pie, the boho blue, and the, oh wait, is that a copper clay? It might be copper clay, don't quote me. And the lemon lolly. So use my take your pick tool, and I'm going to plop that right there in the center. Oh, my flower center moved around. Oh, it's okay. No one will ever know. Shh, they'll never know. All right. With that, I used 2 leaves that we stuck onto the frame, and then we'll keep moving along with the, what are they called? Tulips. Okay. I dropped all things that we were making in here, except for these that we don't need for today. So I have 2 small flowers on the edge, and then we are going to make 2 tulips. Now each of the little tulip heads come in 2 different sizes. You've got the larger one and a small one. I think you can tell the difference on those. So I just would like to have 2 small flowers and then the bigger one, and we're going to do 1 in white because I like a white flower. There's nothing prettier than a nice clean white flower. So same thing there. All right. Now the way that I did these is I just kind of lined up my little flower heads. And I just did dot dot, not a lot. Well, that was way too much. Way too much. Too much. Here. We're going to grab a scrap sheet of paper and dab some of that off. Because, I mean, I scraped it across my silicone craft sheet because it's okay. Now make sure you're putting your flower heads so that they're facing good side up. And when I say that, I mean not the side that's facing downward on your scratched up pad when you're running through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now, we have a minute. You know, the glue's not drying, so we're just going to dot dot all the rest of the little tulips. And then I pick up my stem, and I just kind of pick up the flower head. We're going to do the big one first because it sticks up. So, just kind of, that's it. Stick it on there, pick it up. And you can kind of put your little flower head however you want it to point. But that was it. It's easy peasy. Okay, set that aside to dry, especially that left one on the yellow. There's a lot of glue. Same thing here. Those go together super quick, right? You can make a million tulips in no time flat. All right, this next flower uses the 5-petal number 1, and it's 2 of them. I did get one of each size. I don't think it matters. So again, remember on this one, squeeze really hard when you're curling the petals, and I'm going to curl these upward and just barely, just the little ends. And I'm going to hold on to it really tight to make sure I don't rip the petal off. I would be really sad. So far, I haven't done that, and this is a good tip, pro tip. Okay, so there's that one. I think for this flower, the more petals that you combine and layer with it, the better it looks. Then again, I did just that single white one with some black centers, and I thought it looked very classy too. So just really depends on what you're going for. Now I am going to spin this one around, right? Because we've got that, again, we've got that gappy, those gappy weird spaces, and then 3, the small one is the same way. So we're just going to do it like that. Flip flop. Little dab will do us in the center. And now it kind of fills up the space pretty well. Adds a nice little layer. This one here, I also used the same lemon lolly center, pretty much down to the big ones, which looks fine. I like the gems. Okay. I pre-cut everything. You're so welcome. This, again, is from the Daisy set. Something I was thinking about doing on my sample is actually cutting this flower off. So let's do it. Let's do it right now on this one. And I'm just going to trim at the end of the cone flower looking petal. And again, where it attaches right here, I'm trying to get my scissors, my snips in here. Just make it look a little natural, like, hey, petals do. And that's pretty good. I can't even tell where I cut that off at. However, I am going to trim the little tab because we are going to use this flower, just not sticking out into that. Since I cut everything in white, I'm going to use my, hold please, my soft seafoam lens. This is what I use to color the leaves right there. And I'm going to take the dark bullet tip and just go over this center part right here. Nothing fancy. I chose not to pull these out. Now if it falls out, it's not the end of the world. It's fine. But I like leaving some of these little center pieces in there. You can barely tell, so let's zoom in a little bit. Ooh, that's a lot, but hey. So inside here is a lot of the center pieces. I kind of like them, so I just leave them there. No big deal. Then I'm going to take my light soft seafoam, and this time I'm using the brush tip, and I'm just going to color over and just up to the edge of the petal, and then outward. Going away from the flower is definitely a way to reduce the opportunity for you to accidentally color your white daisy. Oh, and as I'm looking at it now, I realized I also cut this off of the petal and we tucked it in at the end. So that's better. That makes more sense. So we'll use those all together. And then you were just an extra. Thank you for your service. We'll move you over there. Okay, those are all the pieces. 2 tulips. This petal is extra. Put you in there. Yeah. Oh, I know what we need. We need the toppers for the daisy. So in my little snazzy pre-cut pile, I have these were stamped in, I believe I stamped these in, what's that new color called? My favorite, Pebbled Path. So, yeah. And then die cut those. Those are, again, from the Daisies dies. Alright, let's put some things together on the frame, right? Whew. Moving along. Let's see. I am going to stick I stuck these on with a dimensional. I noticed that somebody else was putting them the other way, like this. Then I thought, have I been sticking them on upside down the whole time? I don't know. Yes, maybe. We'll try it. I've been putting it the other way like a coneflower. Isn't that funny? So I'm going to use my regular Stampin' Dimensional, my regular size dimensional. And I like to use my Take Your Pick tool for placement. And we're going to stick it on there. That helps to hold some of those little pieces that stay on, which I mentioned I like. If you don't like, you can pick them out. That's your choice. It's your project. And then on the tiny flower daisy that looks more like a cone flower to me, we're going to use a mini Stampin' Dimensional on that one and stick that right there. Very good. Looks cute. Okay, I'm going to zoom out and bring the frame in a little bit. Zoom out a little bit, not too much. Sometimes it gets a little carried away. Put my cap back on. All right. So remember, we set this to the side with the punches that are always great for substituting as weights. Do a little test. Didn't come out. Successful. Okay. So I literally just glued it to the frame. Nothing fancy. That there. This one's here. Yep, just glued it down. I kind of like that I cut that one off of there. Okay, so let's do that. Actually, just going to put the glue on the frame instead of, really? I was just using this glue, no problem. Now we have a snotty snot spot. Isn't that funny? Okay, I'm just holding down on the center for a quick second. How's it going out there? Kat said, love it, and yes, words are hard. Oh, you know, talking. Talking is hard. Then I just took a little bit of glue. That was probably too much again. And I put it on the leaves. I'm actually going to run it down the center here. Because I know that this part is definitely going to be touching here. And we're just going to do that. Okay. Oh, I see that. I remember now. I actually put my 2 tulips in here and tuck them under that. So let's just do that real quick. forget, put it the right way. Push it up a little so you can see. I definitely laid it so that the largest flower is on the frame. I might have tucked that one up a little far. I'm going to do this white one. Ooh. My goal was to have this done in like an hour, so at this point I'm doing pretty good. That yellow one needs to come out a little bit more. There. That looks pretty good. Let's hold that down for a minute. What do you want to do for a minute? We could play a game. Minute to win it. Just kidding. One extra thing I did, because of course, you know, this is a 3D project, is to take a mini dimensional, boop, and let's pop up the flower heads. Now, in order to do that, I peeled the paper off right here, and then I attach my little, this is like some 3D surgery. I stick that on the end, right? And then I'm just going to tuck it up underneath and then squish my flower head down. Same thing with the white one. Uh-oh, the cat's alive. She was over there napping. She missed dinner snack before I came running downstairs. She might get a little mad. Okay, so that's that. Nice and easy. Oh, brother. This one, I do believe I did stick a dimensional on there, and you know why? Because I wanted to make sure that all those little centers stay stuck together. And then, I believe we stuck some dimensionals here. These are minis. And here. Only because I did it earlier do I remember where it goes. So you'll have to just kind of figure it out depending upon the item that you are putting your flowers on. Will depend on how they stick. Okay. So that's good. Let's peel those backings off. Stick that down. If you noticed in my photo of my 3D frame that I turned into the magnet holder, I originally had my gingham ribbon on the left, but then I also have my linen thread bow also on the left, so I was like, that's too many things on the left, so I kind of changed it. There we go. So there's that. Kind of took that awkward weird space, and we're going to stick that one. You know what? I don't like that up quite so high, so we're going to pick him up. Good news, he picked up quite nicely thanks to the dimensional. There we go. And then this little baby goes right there. We're going to glue it. Center. Oh boy, here comes the white devil. Stuck in the room. Holding while we glue for just a second. Holding. Okay, doing pretty good. Let's take those leaves that we cut off of the daisies. We're wrapping it up. I'm going to tie the fastest bows you ever saw. I'm going to tuck that underneath there. I probably just stuck too much glue on there, but I want to make sure it's going to stick. That's good. Good. Okay. And then do we want to use this one? That's the question. Do we want to tuck that up in there or leave it off? I don't know. I think it needs something. I don't know what that means. Somebody just sent me a message. What do we think about this as the center of a daisy? I don't like that. Okay, we're going to leave it off. Oh, I forgot. We had another greenery to put up here. So that'll fill in that little space pretty nicely. And before we slap that down, let's pop a mini dimensional on the end of that leaf part right there. I did also put some brush brass butterflies on here, but not mandatory. I mean, I think there's enough going on that you don't have to. There. Okay. So that's all the flowers. I know I made a whole ton of flowers, and for what? For a small amount of to put on this frame. So based off of the number of flowers that I have made with the Paper Florist dies, I can make a lot of projects. All right, let's make a quick linen bow, and I did do a double bow, so I will slide this off to the side and show you how I do that, because this is what I call a fancy bow. Okay, take your fingers, have a little tail. Oh, first trick. When you take your linen thread off, you see how curly it is, right? So the first thing I do is I take my thumb, nail, and my finger, and I pull the linen thread through, and you can see it uncurling at the end. That's like step number one to get a good bow that cooperates to what you want it to do. Then I took 3 fingers and I wrapped myself around 1, 2, 3 times. Now my thumb is holding this little tail and these 2 pieces. Then I trim my I trim my linen thread with about the same amount of tail off my index finger as I have over here between my thumb and finger. Now this, I grab the middle, okay? So now you see loops on both sides, tails on both sides. I'm going to pull one tail, pull another little tail, just so that my loops aren't the same exact size. The secret sauce to making a good linen bow, in my opinion, is to have the reversible tweezers, which comes from the embossing kit, okay? And what you want to do is kind of give that a little figure 8 twist. So you can see the figure 8 right there, okay? Then I use my reversible tweezers, which means that when I let them go, they stay closed. And I look to see that my loops are kind of even on both sides. Where did that white piece of cardstock go? Let me put that back down here so you can see. Okay. Then I set my tweezers down and I grab my linen thread again. Hold on, I'm going to go let that cat out so she can stop ruining the video. Okay, let's go. Come on. Hurry. Hurry. I don't know why you woke up from a nap. Come on, let's go. Go, go, go. No, go see your brothers and sisters. Ate all the snacks though. You missed it. Okay. Sorry. Nobody wants to listen to that. Okay. Where were we? So here we go. Then I take the end and I kind of lay that on there. And my intention now is to tie a double knot. So with my big fingers in the way, I'm going to squeeze that pretty tightly. Now I can take that out of the tweezers. So I have an end coming off. I do not trim my thread off of the spool until I'm finished. All right, so the loops look a little not quite centered. They're a little off center, so I'm going to just slide my little knot over a little bit. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to finish my knot. Pulling tightly, tightly, tightly. Pull please while we do that. It's very difficult to show. But anyway, there it is. So now I will trim that. Okay. Make sure that all of my tails are all going downward. I usually use my fingernails to curl them the way I want them to go. And I'm holding very tightly in the center of the knot because technically I could slide that right off. Okay, so there's the bow. I'm going to tell you, I learned this bow from Mary Dethridge, and she calls it the Farrah Fawcett bow. All right, I love it. I put it on everything now. Curl that a little bit. So I do want to trim these tails to make them a little bit even like the others. There. Okay. Now you do need to adhere that. You can use some glue. My preference is the mini glue dots. Look, that's all I wasted was 2 little tiny pieces. So secret sauce, leave your thread, your ribbon on the spool when you're making your bows. All right, here's my bow. Here are my mini glue dots. We're going to just plop that on there. You will want to look at it and say, which is the good front-facing side of my bow? Is it this one or is it that one? It actually looks pretty good on both sides, but I kind of left the knot, the bigger part of the knot to the back. And that's how I decide which way I'm going to stick this onto my project. The goal was to kind of stick it right around here where the tulip flowers were collected. I know nobody has tulips upside down, but it's just a 3D decor project, so everybody will be fine. All right. I probably did the same thing. I'm going to move you out of the way again while I do another Farrah Fawcett bow. This time we're going to use the gingham ribbon. I'm so excited that this carried over. And this time I actually used a clear acrylic block. I'll grab one that doesn't have a stamp on it. And I did the same thing. I leave a little tail off to the side. Okay. And then I went 1, 2, third time around. It gets a little tricky when it's on the spool. Everything is flat. Okay. It's nice and flat. Then we're going to just trim the tail. Move you out of the way. Okay, so got tails, we've got loops, we're just going to slide it off. Now I did slide 1/2 off at a time when I used my block to make sure I pinched my ribbons. Okay, there's no figure 8ing on this one. Well, it does seem to kind of do it all by itself, doesn't it? So same thing. We've got tails, we've got loops. I'm going to pull 1/2 so that I'm going to pull one tail so that one of the loops gets a little bit smaller. Not a lot, just enough to not make it look exactly like I just pulled it off the block. Get my reverse tweezers out again. I stick them upside down for some weird reason. It makes it easier for me to reach it. Now this, we're going to do the same way. We're going to lay that on top. This is the equivalent of having octopus hands. You need more than 2 hands when you are a crafter, as you very well all know. So before I pull that too terribly tight, I'm going to take a look, make sure I like what's happening here with my tails. And I like it. It's a good looking knot. So I'm going to pull it a little tighter. Okay, and then I'm going to go back through and do that double knot. Just be mindful to keep your ribbon as flat as possible with your, you know, as you're making your knots. There's nothing worse than a big lumpy tail knot. And then, you know, train your tails. It's like training your dragon. Okay. Somehow that tail got in a weird way. We're going to pull him through. There we go. Okay, we've got it. We did it. I'm going to trim this one. Do your little angles. Going to trim this one a little more. That's a pretty good looking bow. Hold please while I fluff some more. You can spend a lot of time fluffing your bows, but that's another Farrah Fawcett bow. I did not use my fingers on that one. And that tail is not cooperating. Okay. Hopefully I was in the screen while we were doing that one, right? Okay, like 3 more minutes. We're finished. I'm super excited. And that is all I wasted on that. So that always makes me happy that there's very little wasted. Now I did kind of stick this kind of up here like this. So again, mini glue dot to the rescue. Sometimes you need a mini glue dot to control your ribbon tails. But I'm going to work it out. And then I just stuck that up on the corner like that. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. So cute. Fluff your loops a little bit. Not too much because I don't want that tail acting all crazy. Right? And there you have it. Oh no. Let's see. There we go. Slid that down a little bit. Okay, so here we have it. Another magnetic 3D decor. Some uses that you can use this for if you're not a crafter. I love taking like little makeups and putting a magnet on the back of them, and then you can attach them to this, like just like you know, anything, and that way when you take it down, you have it there, and you can always just hang it, or you can set this on the shelf or put it on an easel, whatever you like. Whew! Yay, we did it. And it wasn't a 2-hour video. I'm so excited. All right, hopefully I covered all the things. Yeah, I want to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you got some valuable information about how to put the flowers together. I will have a picture of this on my website, and you're welcome to use it for your own crafting with the Paper Florist dies. If you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like some more information on how you can get these or any other products from my store, please just send me an email and drop me a line, send me your email, and I will be happy to get back in touch as soon as possible to hopefully help you get whatever it is that you need. So thank you so much. Okay, everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend, and remember the reason for the holiday, and take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.